I guess it's no surprise to any of you that shop at Dollar Tree. St. Patrick's Day items are already out. And I'm not even past Valentine's Day yet, but guess what? While the supplies are there, you better grab them because they'll be out when you really want them. And my idea today is to make centerpieces. Once again, I'm going to do them for the full skilled nursing facility that my mother lives in. I love to help decorate the tables there. It gives a relief to the girls that take care of her, and it always looks so nice. So I don't know what I'm doing to make centerpieces, but I'm going to start working on it. In the beginning, I think it's going to be this hat, and I've already cut out a piece of styrofoam in the bottom and shoved it up in there. And my idea, or my thought is, this will be, and by the way, when you buy these hats, make sure the buckle's in the middle. Really? I'm going to take and pull it off, and I'm going to glue it in the middle. And I'm going to work on doing some type of shamrock on the top. That's my thought. And then these little pots. I'm thinking about somehow wiring one of these little pots up there, and then having some golden coins trickle out of the pot and maybe down on the side of the hat. I was thinking about doing all three of them different, but let me just do one at a time. Okay, thought number one is I was thinking I was going to elevate it, but I think I'm going to put it right on top of the hat. And I don't trust hot glue on this styrofoam with the glitter and this felt hat. So I want to get it in there well supported. So what I'm thinking about doing is just cutting up an old wire hanger, and I am going to shove some wire hanger through here and maybe through this part and this part, make a little hole in the top of the hat, and then push it down into that styrofoam so it's got a good support system. I'm also going to lean it a little bit further on the back of the hat for weight purposes, because if I end up putting that little pot with the coins coming out, I'll have some weight on the front. So that's what I'm going to do now. Cut this up, stick it in there, and I'll let you know how it works. Okay, to catch you up on how this is working, I did cut a piece of that hanger and I angled it. I stuck it right in there. And what I did was I angled it. I had a vision of angling it right through there so you don't see it. And when I could finally see where it was going to go inside the hat, I took a little razor blade and just made a little slit, and I pushed it in. So if you see, I've got this one now sticking up, and I've also figured out exactly where it's going to go in. Took a little slit of the razor blade. Now, what happened is when I pushed this wire through, it did break away a little of the styrofoam, but it's so tiny you can barely see it. Maybe put some Scotch tape or something on it so when you push it through, it has some support to not break that. I'll figure that out in one of these three. So now I'm just going to take these needle nose pliers and I'm going to push this down in the hat. And like that. And I might even put a little bit of hot glue just kind of over the hole. Yeah. And this hole too. So it kind of touches the little hanger. I don't think that's going to give it too much extra support, but that's really on there. It's on there perfect. Also, when I put the styrofoam in, I had a slight space in the top here. So when I went to push it down, it like buckled. So I pulled that piece up and I did put another small layer up in there so that the hat keeps its shape. Okay, I want to anchor this little bucket right inside here. And once again, I'm afraid about that hot glue with this glitter and styrofoam and this plastic. So, thinking that, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a really skinny wire that I'm stuck down in through the styrofoam. I've got it coming out the other side, and I've made a little tiny hole in the bucket right about where I think it's going to hit right there. I'm going to run that through the bucket, a little hole underneath here, and then come out here. And then I'm going to have And then I'm gonna hot glue it. So it's gonna be wired and hot glued. It's very well supported with this wire, and I'm gonna stick some hot glue around it too. But I will say this little shamrock is pretty delicate. So right now I have the wire coming out the top, and I do have the little wire on the bottom. I've got it wrapped around the back. Because my wire happens to be green, it matches in real well. I just am going to be very careful of how I just wrap it around. I think I'm just going to wrap it around the back of this and just tuck it underneath there, because if you even go to twist it a little bit, this styrofoam is breaking. But it's $1, so we'll just be careful with it. So I'm going to do some glue, cut off the wires, and then start deciding how I'm going to get those coins to come out of there. And I took a little razor, because I don't want to make a hole. I took a little razor, made a little slit, and I shoved it down into the styrofoam. So this thing is really going to support, it could support regular gold coins. It's very strong. So now I'm going to start putting the gold coins on it and then trickling them off to the side, and we can see what our results look like. I think we have a winner. It's just how I have it visioned. It's, I think, a great centerpiece. In fact, I'm not even so sure I shouldn't take the styrofoam out of there and wear it as a hat. I think it came out great. The reason I like to support everything, like the wires and all, is because the Full Skilled Nursing, where my mother's at, they save these decorations that I make, hoping to use them year after year. So as they're throwing them, sorry about that, they save them to use year after year. So that's why I like to have it strong, so if they stick it in the box and then pull it back out, that things aren't falling apart and glue's not coming undone. So if you wanna put this little container in here by just way of hot glue, then do it. You don't have to support it with the wire. It was a little difficult to get it through there, but so don't do it then. Just use the glue. I did hot glue all these things along that wire and then kind of trickled them down to the edge. And I still have this little hanger on here. I'm just going to clip that off at the very tip. And I'm hoping to not do 3 of the same exact thing. I always do 3 centerpieces. I'm hoping to come up with 2 other ideas. If I do, they'll follow this. And if I don't, please subscribe to my channel. I've definitely decided to not make all 3 centerpieces the same. Why not? I have all these extra supplies, so I decided let's get started with centerpiece number 2. I do love the hat as a base. It's got some nice size to it. The tables that I'm doing this for are kind of large, so I really like using this. Now, my idea is I'm going to take the weight off of this balloon holder, save these pieces, and even save the green paper. I'm going to then take one of these pots, an empty one, and I'm going to stick all these pieces inside there so it's coming out of the little pot. Now, I'm not going to put it in the middle. I want to put it off to the side, because then these little pots that I've already put styrofoam in, I'm thinking about elevating them up with wire and having the 2 of them off to the opposite side and having coins coming out and then coming together and then off to the side. Similar idea to the last one, but still changing it up a little bit. Okay, one step at a time. That little piece of foil that came around this, I decided that I would use it up here. So I stuck it inside the little pail, little bucket, and then I stuffed styrofoam inside that. So now I have something that covers up that styrofoam and something that decorates it a little bit more. Now, as I said, I'm going to cut this off and it's going to be inside the pot. So now the balloon holder decoration is now down inside of the styrofoam, and I did have one of these shamrock necklaces, and I just add a little shamrock on the front of it. Also, I've cut up 2 wire hangers, and I've got them at 2 different heights. They're stuck inside the styrofoam, and now I'm going to arrange them like this and make a slit. I don't know if I said this on this video, but the last one, just make a little slit in the top of the hat where you're going to put it. so that there's not like a hole and you can't even see when you make a little slit and stick it down in there. I'm gonna add to that last segment. I have these plastic beads, also from Dollar Tree, gold ones. And I think instead of putting the coins down the wire like I did on the last one, do something a little different. I think I'm gonna wrap these beads around this and it will cover the wire that way. And I think it's just a nice little twist to use to cover up the wire rather than all those gold coins for a second time. I got a little ahead again, but not too much. I did show you about putting the beads around the wire, sticking the wire inside with the little slit from the razor. And I had this package of shamrocks and gold coins, and I just kind of clustered them at the base where it's going in, and then just kind of worked them down into the side of the hat. They even had these cute little berries in there, and I just decided to put them on the gold. So I would say it is complete. Oh no, it's not complete. Let's take the tag off. All right, so we now have our second centerpiece. I realize that you can see the styrofoam up in there. I'm not gonna worry about that, but if you wanted to, you could take a piece of green felt and put it in there, or you could actually take these gold beads and you could circle them in there prior coming down the wire to cover up that. But they're gonna be sitting on a table. You're sitting like at an angle. When I look at it head on this way, when it's on the table, you don't really see that. So project number 2. And now I'm gonna do 3 next. Okay, so I decided to not let it go. That white styrofoam was bothering me. So guess what I came up with? A little bit of green paint. So that would be something I would do before I had it together. But for now, I was able to slip the brush up in there and paint it green, and now I feel better. So once again, on to project 3. Okay, so my next idea is to use these shamrocks. They do have them at Dollar Tree. They are hanging in a row, and and this also comes with it. So I'm thinking about using this on the front of the hat. It says welcome. It's a little big. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to double side these shamrocks so that you won't see the back because it's sitting on the table. And I have 3 sets to be able to do that. My thought is, let's take this down for now. My thought is, I always like to elevate things. So my thought is to go ahead and elevate these on wires and go the same thing. We're gonna put styrofoam inside the hat. This is definitely gonna take coat hangers to put them up. Of course, the wire will be hot glued in between these, and I'll have them in like 3 different levels, and then figure out how we're gonna decorate around that. But right now, I'm thinking about how I'm gonna cover that wire. So I have some of this gold tubing. I've used it before to cover wire. What I do is I take the wire and shove it up into the tubing. So that's what's gonna cover the wire. So I'm gonna get started. Well, here's the gold tubing. And like I said, I just took, and the more you shove it up, the more it kind of spirals. So I'm getting an idea of maybe this little shamrock can look like a flower. But for right now, I'm gonna do that with all 3 and stick them in the top of the hat. Well, that's how they came out so far. And I think that the last little pot that I have from my Dollar Tree package, I'm gonna stick in the middle. And then I'm just gonna clump up a bunch of coins on the top. Maybe I'll dribble some down, but for now, I think I'm just gonna stack them on the top and see what they look like. So the little pot fit perfectly in between these wires. Like I said, I was gonna cluster some coins, but I did decide to continue them further down. And then I had this leftover St. Patrick's Day necklace. So I just kind of draped it around the shamrocks, and that added a little more detail to it. So this is number 3. I hope that you find one of the three that you'd like to make, if not all three. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.